Welcome back, everyone, to The Deep Dive. And today, we're going deep on redefining success, specifically for women between 41 and 55.
Oh, yeah.
We've got articles, newsletter snippets, even some poll data,
Okay.
all pointing to a pretty major shift in how women in this age group are defining their goals and aspirations. And you know what? The data suggests this is all happening against the backdrop of massive change in the workplace.
Absolutely. The traditional 9 to 5 is, it's practically crumbling before our eyes, and it's causing both anxiety and opportunity in equal measure.
Yeah.
One of the studies that we have here from McKinsey actually predicts that 70% of traditional jobs will be significantly disrupted.
Wow.
By 2030, which is just around the corner.
70%.
Yeah.
That is a staggering figure. So what does this all mean for women who are already navigating major life transitions, kids leaving the nest, career plateaus, maybe even those whispers of societal expectations shifting?
Absolutely.
It's a lot to process.
It is. And the source material really highlights some key concerns that keep popping up for women in this age group. Things like career stagnation, financial anxieties, health and well-being concerns, and even a fear of becoming irrelevant. But there's another layer that I find particularly fascinating, this idea of a loss of identity.
Loss of identity. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure. Think about it. For many years, your identity might have been very heavily tied to your role as a mother, a wife, or a specific job title. Now, as those roles evolve or maybe even disappear altogether, it can trigger a real sense of questioning. Who am I now? What's my purpose? It's a very real struggle for a lot of women in this age group.
It makes perfect sense. It's almost like an existential crisis meets midlife.
Right.
Have you personally witnessed this in your work or in your own circles?
Absolutely. I think it's more prevalent than we realize. But here's the thing. This period of uncertainty also presents an incredible opportunity for reinvention.
Reinvention. I like the sound of that.
Me too. One of the articles actually profiles this woman, Lyndon Thorpe, who completely transformed her life at age 70.
Oh, wow.
She transitioned from a career in academia to becoming a very successful digital entrepreneur.
Hold on. 70.
Yippee.
70.
That's incredible. Tell me more about her story.
Well, what's interesting is that her journey wasn't about chasing some external marker of success. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was much more about tapping into a passion that she'd always had, but just never really had the space to explore.
Mm-hmm.
It's a powerful example of how age really is just a number.
Right.
When it comes to pursuing your dreams.
That's so inspiring. But let's be realistic for a moment. We've got all these inspiring stories, but we also have this poll data from women aged 41 to 55 that paints a bit of a different picture.
Okay.
They were asked about their biggest challenges when it comes to redefining success, and the top responses were pretty telling.
Oh, I'm curious. What were they? The top 3 were uncertainty about where to even begin, a lack of confidence in their skills, and a very real feeling of, it's too late for me. Does that surprise you at all?
Not really. I think those feelings are incredibly common, and they speak to a larger societal narrative that often tells women, especially women in midlife, that they've somehow missed their window of opportunity. But what I find so encouraging about Lyndon's story, and countless others out there, is that they completely shatter that myth.
So how do we bridge that gap? We've got these women feeling stuck, unsure, maybe even a little afraid. And then we have these incredible examples of women who are out there defying the odds. What's the missing link?
Well, one of the things Lyndon emphasizes in her story is the power of mentorship and community. She credits much of her success to having a network of people who believed in her vision, who could offer guidance and support when she needed it most.
That makes so much sense. It's about having that tribe.
Right.
That circle of people who understand your journey and can offer encouragement when you're feeling doubtful.
Exactly. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a formal mentorship program. It could be connecting with women in your field, joining online communities, attending workshops, anything that exposes you to different perspectives and reminds you that you're not alone in this.
You know, speaking of feeling alone, one thing that really resonated with me from these articles is the fear of starting over, especially financially. Many women in this age group are carrying more financial responsibility than ever before.
Right.
Maybe supporting aging parents, maybe still helping their kids. And the idea of taking a risk, of stepping away from a stable job, it can feel terrifying.
Absolutely. Financial security is a huge factor,
Right.
and it's something we shouldn't shy away from. One of the articles, I think it was from Forbes, actually had some great advice on this.
Oh, really? What did it suggest?
Well, it emphasized the importance of having a solid financial plan in place before making any major career changes. That might mean working with a financial advisor. exploring side hustles to supplement your income, or even just taking some time to really assess your current financial situation. Identify areas where you could potentially cut back or save more. It's about taking those practical steps to create a safety net so you feel more empowered to take risks.
Practical steps. I love that, because sometimes when we're talking about these big life-changing decisions, it can feel so overwhelming, so abstract. But breaking down into manageable steps, that's where the real power lies.
Exactly. And remember, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing proposition. You can start small, you can test the waters, you can dip your toes into a new field without completely upending your life.
Right.
It's about finding that balance that works for you.
That's such a great point. It's about progress, not perfection. And, something else that I found really fascinating in these sources was the idea of framing this transition.
Okay.
Not as a midlife crisis,
Yeah.
but as a midlife awakening.
Oh, I like that.
It's about seeing this period not as a time of decline, but as a time of incredible potential and growth.
I love that. A midlife awakening. And I think that shift in perspective is crucial. It's about recognizing that you have decades of experience, wisdom, and resilience behind you. And now you get to leverage all of that to create a future that truly excites you.
It's like all the pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together, and you get to decide what the final picture will look like.
Yeah.
And you know what? That brings us to a really important question that we haven't addressed yet. What does success even mean anymore? Is it still about titles and salaries, or is there something deeper at play?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think the answer is different for everyone, but what I'm seeing more and more, especially among women in this age group, is that success is becoming less about external validation and more about internal fulfillment. It's about aligning your actions with your values, making a meaningful impact, and living a life that feels authentic to you.
Living a life that feels authentic, that resonates with your soul.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And, I think one of the reasons we're seeing this shift is because, frankly, the world is changing so rapidly. The old markers of success, the corner office, the fancy car, they just don't hold the same weight they used to.
Right. We're living in a time of unprecedented change, and it's forcing us to reevaluate our priorities. It's like we're collectively waking up to the fact that there's more to life than just climbing the ladder. There's purpose, there's connection, there's contribution. And I think women in midlife are uniquely positioned to lead the way in this new definition of success.
Absolutely. They've got the experience, the wisdom, and frankly, they've got nothing to lose. They're not afraid to challenge the status quo, to redefine the rules, and to create a world that works better for everyone.
I couldn't agree more. And I think what's so inspiring about this conversation is that it's not just about individual success. It's about collective empowerment. It's about women supporting women, sharing their stories, and creating a ripple effect of positive change that benefits everyone.
That's such a powerful point. And, speaking of sharing stories and empowering women, I have to circle back to Lyndon Thorpe for a moment. She's actually created a free 5-video series specifically for women who are feeling stuck, lost, or unsure about their next steps. It's packed with practical tips, inspiring stories, and tangible strategies for escaping the 9-to-5 grind and building a life of freedom and purpose.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I bet our listeners would love to check that out.
If this post inspired you, like, comment, or share to help others transform their lives. Ready to escape the 9-to-5 and build a life of freedom and purpose? Access her free 5-video series today. https.lindathorpe.com. Let's empower and flourish together. Follow Lyndon here. https.firsthandlife.com/LynnNashLinks.
That's a wonderful resource, and I think it speaks to the fact that there is support out there. There are people who understand what you're going through, and there are tools and resources available to help you navigate this transition with confidence and clarity.
Absolutely. It's about taking that first step, believing in yourself, and embracing the journey. And, that brings us to a really interesting question. What are some of the specific ways women in this age group are actually redefining success? What does it look like in practice?
Well, one of the things that keeps coming up in the research is this move away from traditional career paths and towards more entrepreneurial ventures. We're seeing a surge in women starting their own businesses, freelancing, consulting, basically creating their own definitions of what it means to be successful in the workplace.
That's fascinating. So it's not just about escaping the corporate world.
Right.
It's about creating something new, something that aligns with their passions and values.
Exactly. And what's exciting is that technology has made it easier than ever to launch a business, build an online presence, and connect with potential customers. It's truly leveled the playing field in many ways.
So it's like this convergence of factors. The changing job market, the rise of technology, and this deep desire for more meaning and